Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chisom, and in this video I decided to do something scary. So I know that Halloween has passed, and that's the time that people usually do like scary things, scary makeup, tell scary stories on their YouTube channel. But I decided to do it now because like I came across some other channels like Louis Lane, Haley Reese, and some other channels that focus on the paranormal and scary things, in general. And scary things have always been my thing, horror stories, horror movies, all sorts of things. I've always been interested in the paranormal thing, like the paranormal, everything paranormal. I've always been interested in everything paranormal. But then obviously I'm not going to like put myself in any situation like that could harm me, or like for example I would never go and do like a Ouija board, like I would never go and play with a Ouija board, or I would never actually go and go to an actual haunted house. That's not for me. But in terms of watching scary things, I love doing that. Listening to scary stories, I love doing that. So I decided to go on Reddit, because apparently I discovered that I just discovered that there are some scary things, like people have had scary experiences personally happen to them. I don't have any scary stories of my own. I just realized that people post their scary experiences on Reddit. I decided to read I decided to go ahead and read what people have posted, and like the stories that they've posted, their personal experience. And this is the first time I'm reading it. I'm going to give you like my genuine reaction while I read it. So I'm going to try and read very as well as I can. Obviously I may stumble upon some words. Also, for those who are not Nigerian and have a different accent, it may be difficult for them to understand me. So I'm going to try and slow down on my talking, like I'm going to slow down on the pace so everyone can understand. So the first story I have is from Ghetto Bird. So it's ghetto_bird1, and he was replying to the question, what is the scariest thing that happened to you personally that made you question reality? So ghetto_bird1 replied, I'm curious if anyone else has had this happen. Years ago with my then wife, he said, I would run into the same woman everywhere we went. And I mean everywhere we went. This went on for about a year. Go to the grocery store, she'll be there shopping. Starbucks, yep, sitting right there behind us. Walking around the mall, she would pass us walking in the other direction. Movie theater, she'd be behind us in the line getting popcorn. The creepiest encounter was while driving on the freeway. My wife looked at the car next to us and screamed. Yep, it was her. She was always alone, never talked to us, and always made eye contact. She had a very unique appearance. She was very tall, very thin, and had very tight skin on her face. It was so unusual that we joked that we were being studied by an alien. It was some serious glitch in the Matrix stuff. Like, if that actually happened to me, I would actually confront her, especially the fact that she's making eye contact. That means she knows them, like, it's not just a coincidence. Obviously it's not a coincidence when you see her everywhere you go, but if it was me, I would actually confront her and ask her like, why are you following me? Because that is very scary. And then next one, this is by Ali KitKat, and it says, it was years ago when I was about 17. I had gotten home from school and I wasn't feeling well, so I spent the rest of the day just laying on the couch. By about 8 p.m. I was feeling even worse, and decided I should just try to sleep whatever it is off. So I go to my room and get in bed and pass out pretty quickly. I don't know how long I was asleep for, but I suddenly woke up in my pitch black bedroom, and all I could think of was, I'm going to die right now. My body was so weak, the room was spinning and my body felt like it was on fire. I look over to the edge of my bed, and sitting on the edge of my bed is my grandmother, who died just a few months ago. She pats my arm and says, "It's going to be okay. Just call for your dad. Try it. Call for your dad." So I started calling for him, and it felt like an eternity, but he finally burst through my door and asks what's wrong. I look over and my grandma is gone. After that, he gets me up and takes me to the ER, where I had a fever of 106 Fahrenheit, which explains a lot. I had to get a ton of fluids and a shot in my hip, but I eventually felt okay-ish. Her being there felt so real. It was so weird. I know logically she wasn't, but it felt so real. That sort of messed me up. That sort of messed with me a little. I loved her dearly, and her death was very sudden. We kept her ashes in a nice urn in the house under a painting she had done herself. When I got home and passed by, I said thanks to her. I know it was the fever melting my brain and maybe some sleep paralysis, but it still made me question the afterlife and those sort of things. So with that, also from my experience, because I watch a lot of horror stories, Supernatural was one of my favorite TV series. So from the experience I've seen, like from what I've watched on TV and what I've read about, I think it was the grandma obviously warning. I don't think it was a coincidence, I don't think it was the fever or anything. I'm very superstitious. It's just, I'm Nigerian. We're usually superstitious, usually. So I actually do believe that it was the grandma that was warning him, because, I don't know, it just seemed so specific, like call for your dad, try it, just call for him. I don't know what kind of fever would do that, but who knows. So the last one is from Dick Hole Johnny, and it says, when I was 12 or so and still living at my parents' house, I woke up in the middle of the night to pee. I got to the bathroom and heard what sounded like a party going on downstairs. Laughter, music, the sound of glasses being knocked together for a toast, the whole shebang. I thought it was weird that my parents had friends over so late and hadn't told me, but I decided to go and see who was there. I opened the door to the kitchen, and the entire downstairs was completely dark and silent. Not even a TV on. I was thoroughly confused, but the strangeness of the situation didn't really register, so I never really told anyone. Years and years later, I mentioned this to my dad, and he said he had heard them too. It turns out that there used to be a small public bar in their house, which is over 150 years old. I guess some of the patrons decided to hang out for eternity. Okay, so that one is actually very scary, because, which although confusing, because could it be that they died? Maybe there were like bar fights where people got killed or something, I don't know. But why would they hang out? Even if it was a public bar, like let's say, there was a public bar and right now, and like they still go home, so why would they actually come, like stay there? I don't know, because from what I watch on TV, but then again, TV always like skews reality, it always shows you a different description of what reality is. But then again, TV is based on real life, and from what's like some TV is based on real life, some movies and all that stuff is based on real life. So from what I understand, you're meant to die, or that if you're meant to haunt anywhere, you're meant to haunt where you died, like the location you died in. You wouldn't just go to your favorite bar. Or maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But yeah, if it was me, I would actually be scared, because when I was younger, I always had this paranoia that flushing the toilet in the middle of the night always brought, always made the demons hear you because it was so loud. So every time I would flush the toilet, I would run away quickly. That's just what I used to do. So just imagine actually that, like, just imagine that actually happening to me. I would actually, no. Anyways, so that's the end of my story. I'll be doing more of this in upcoming videos. Tell me if you guys like this, and like, just let me know if you guys like this, and I'll be doing more in the near future. So with that being said, thank you very much for listening. Thank you very much for watching my video, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Oh, and also don't forget to share my videos. I'll see you in the next video.